Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a genuinely terrifying tale about tomb treasure and a queen's awakening. But here's the kicker. This isn't your standard find the gold, get rich quick kind of story. No, this treasure was actually an elaborate ancient trap, just sitting there, waiting patiently to be sprung. We're going to break down how a simple, greedy quest for gold unlocked a dark magic and unleashed something so dangerous it had been literally wiped from human history. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so picture this. We're starting right in the thick of it. You're in a dark, claustrophobic, ridiculously hot tunnel. We've got this desperate tomb raider who's been digging tirelessly for weeks. He's miserable, he's complaining about the oppressive heat, and then, bam! He realizes he's accidentally trapped a rival raider who is hunting for the exact same prize. Now, instead of fighting to the death in the pitch black, you know what they do? They strike a deal. They form this incredibly fragile truce, agreeing to share the loot without setting any more traps for each other. It's an alliance built 100% on mutual greed.
So this shaky little alliance leads them right to the jackpot. But man, there is a massive catch. They find this sealed box, and slapped right on it is a crystal clear message. It literally says, "Here lies an empress of an ancient kingdom." And this here is a warning. It must not be opened. Now, look, you or I might see a perfectly preserved, almost alive-looking empress inside and think, yeah, absolutely not, I'm out. That is a giant red flag. But these guys, the overwhelming lure of that tomb treasure completely blinds them. One of them just flat out ignores the warning, cracks open the tomb, and, surprise, surprise, the queen awakens.
The second that ancient trap is sprung, it is every man for himself. And the contrast here is just stark. The so-called handsome raider with the dreadlocks doesn't even hesitate. He scoops up all the treasure he can physically carry and just cowardly bolts. And his rival, the guy who was deemed, well, let's just say less physically attractive by comparison, he gets cruelly left behind. Locked inside the tomb by the traitor, he's completely at the mercy of this freshly awakened empress.
Meanwhile, our trader is outside, living it up in the desert night. He's literally shouting, "I did it! I'm rich! Richer than a king!" The guy is completely unfazed by the fact that he just abandoned a dude he met yesterday to some horrific, totally unknown fate underground. I mean, it really shows you how deeply the lust for this specific tomb treasure has just completely rotted his basic humanity. In his mind, he's won the ultimate prize.
But down in the tomb, things are taking a wildly fascinating and terrifying turn. The trapped raider is understandably completely losing it. He thinks he's seconds away from death, and he's begging the empress, asking a pretty logical question, honestly. He wants to know, why on earth did she let the handsome thief escape with the gold, but keep him locked up? He even points out the absurdity of it, basically saying, hey, the attractive guy went that way. Have you seen my face? He just assumes an immortal queen would want the good-looking guy as a companion, right?
Well, the Empress's response completely flips the script. She hits him with this chilling line. Outer beauty means nothing to me. Your blood chose you. Boom. She reveals she couldn't care less about superficial looks. She didn't let the thief escape by accident, and she certainly didn't keep this specific guy to be her husband for eternity by chance either. No, she kept him because of a deep, dark, ancestral connection that this poor guy wasn't even fully aware he had.
And this is where we uncover a massive, hidden history that stretches back across entire epics. Back in the First Era, this wasn't just some random entombment. A high priest actually used his own blood magic to seal this empress into stone. Then in the Second Era, her entire empire was systematically erased from human history. We're talking maps redrawn, monuments buried under floods, the whole 9 yards. Fast forward through centuries of the Third Era, where unknowing kings obsessively hoarded her gold, bringing us right to today, the Fourth Era, where the direct descendant of that very high priest just dug his way back to her.
This is absolutely crucial to understand. This tomb treasure isn't just a pile of inert wealth, it's an active, magnetic force. For centuries, kings and empires hoarded this gold relentlessly, completely unaware that they were practically smelling it in their own blood. The gold itself acted as the literal chains keeping the empress bound. All those massive historical cover-ups, the flooded valleys, the buried cities that nobody could explain, they were all incredibly elaborate methods designed to keep her chained and her dark empire entirely forgotten.
Which brings us to the ultimate, horrific irony of our trapped raider's life. The Empress drops a bombshell. Only his blood could dig its way back to me. The trapped raider realizes that his father, his grandfather, his whole family, they were always tomb rats, always digging, but they weren't actually hunting for treasure. Not really.
Because their blood carried the legacy of the high priest who originally sealed her away, they were generationally, subconsciously compelled to dig her out. His entire family line was essentially a ticking time bomb, just waiting to undo that seal.
So, how does an ancient queen actually return to full power? It's a pretty grim process. Step 1 is already done. The bloodline returned and broke the seal. Step 2, that's where things get super dark. She can't just stroll out of the tomb. She needs a rider, an anchor of living flesh to actually carry her immense power. So she forcibly transforms her newly claimed trapped husband into this monstrous superpowered vessel to carry out her will. And step 3? Together, they plan to lay waste to the world and rule every single corner of it.
But hey, before you can conquer the globe, you've got to settle some debts, right? The Empress makes it clear, the traitor dies first. And this leads us to this incredibly intense, terrifying climax. The newly transformed, monstrous rider actually tracks down the handsome thief who left him to die. The thief is exhausted, terrified, and suddenly finds himself cornered by the very man he abandoned, who just roars at him, "I've got you now, traitor! I'll crush you like a cockroach." Talk about betrayal coming full circle in the most violent way imaginable. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we really have to stop and ask ourselves, who is the real monster here? Is it the awakened tyrannical empress, or is it the bottomless human greed for tomb treasure that drove these men to dig her up in the first place? Think about it. If it weren't for the blinding, corrupting lure of ancient gold, that seal would never have been broken. This ancient nightmare would have stayed safely erased from history. It really makes you wonder who the true architect of this doom actually was. Thanks for hanging out with me to explore this one, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.